Shelley, you are a little bit fast, eh? Okay? All right.
And then there's a lot of discontent among the members of the security cluster in Windhoek specifically because of the one polling station. And we've seen how crowded this number of members have turned away because of how long these queues are. Firstly, do you think it was a good why did you opt for one polling station? Previously, we had polling stations at bases, which made it easier. Why did you not opt for that?
Okay.
I think that's good.
All right. Maybe we should first attend to Shelley's questions, and then we take the other round. If I can just take the last question, the discontent by the security cluster because of the one polling station. Shelley, I indicated that we received a specific number, right, from the security cluster, that these are the number of people that are going to be on duty on the 27th. And those are the number of people that we planned around with. But this morning, a lot more people turned up. And if they had changed that they allowed everybody to come and vote, they did not communicate it up front. So that is the reason, because from the side of ECN, that one polling station was enough to cater for everybody. But nevertheless, the process is going on smoothly and we are able to attend to everybody. Now, the other level of your question is to say there were always polling stations at bases. The ministry does not want that. They do not want that, and that is why we do not have a single polling station at a military base. The reasons we do not know, but they just felt that you can be in close proximity to the army base, but not within the army base. If you look at our first draft, we had, the army bases also as part of the polling stations, but then there was an indication that you need to find a nearby venue. And the other thing is also that we've noticed that there are also people who are traveling from Okanya, coming here. And I do not know the reason why, because there is a polling station in Okanya. So that is why I'm saying that our planning was proper, because we were expecting a specific number. But a lot more people turned up, but we are ready to attend to them. They must just be patient, and everybody will get their chance to vote. So that is really the reason why we are in this situation. Yeah. And also, unlike the registration points, polling stations are gazetted. And once you gazette them, you can't change them willy-nilly. It would have been easy for the commission to just say, why don't we establish 2 more polling stations? But you can't do that. Procedurally, it is not correct because they are gazetted, and therefore, these are the only venues that we are allowed to use as polling venues. It would have been a lot better had they at least given us a heads up to say, expect a lot more people than the numbers that we have given. Okay, then you also, okay, the numbers of observers and political party agents. I think we've made provision for 2 agents per political party per polling station. We've made provision for that. But as you might have seen, I think a couple of them came in, quite late. And I remember that in the one polling station where I was, there was only one political party with 2, the 2 agents that was present. But the provision that we've made is 2 agents per political party per polling station. Okay, the estimate turnout, that I'm going to ask the Director of Operations to give you. And then setting aside... Okay, no, the first question had to do with setting aside...
The ballot papers.
The ballot papers.
Number of extra ballot papers.
The number of extra ballot papers.
And then the turnout.
Okay,
So
all right. So Zenia, if you could please attend to those questions.
Yes, thank you very much. So the cumulative number of voters that have turned out for polling stations locally is 7,199. That is across the country, 7,199. The voters turnout so far for the missions abroad, taking into consideration the time differences, stood at 2 o'clock this afternoon at 586. 586 for our diplomatic missions abroad. And then the number of ballot papers, additional ballot papers. So there was no additional ballot papers that was given to these teams apart from what the Commission has announced. Yes. Like the chairperson also indicated in her remarks, is that there was a transfer which is allowed in terms of our standard operating procedures, that we can transfer from one polling station to another polling station. So that took place, but the number that we have given, thus far, we have not sent out additional ballot papers to any team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I think we are done with Shelley's questions. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Vitalio Angula. I'm a freelance journalist. There are people from the diaspora who have complained about the distance from polling stations. For example, there was a lady here just now who said she could not travel from Arizona to Washington. And are there plans to make voting more accessible to Namibians in the diaspora in the future? And she gave an example that maybe the ECN would have mail-in ballots because of the vast distances. And I think somebody else also has a problem. They don't stay in Berlin, but there's only a polling station in Berlin.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. That question is justified. The complaint is really justified. And it's also something that we picked up during registration. The starting point will be to change the law, right? Because the law indicates that registration, voting should only take place at Namibian diplomatic missions. And you need to present yourself at these missions for you to be able to vote. So the starting point will be then to look at the law and make amendments so that, you know, cases like that can be attended to. And really, if you look at it, that is probably the reason why the registration numbers for 35 diplomatic missions is around 2,000. That's very low. If you really look at the estimated number of Namibians that are in the diaspora, not that I have the exact number, but I am convinced that it can be a lot more than the 2,000. But the distances from wherever people live to the diplomatic missions is the deterrent. So it calls for an amendment to the law. Sorry.
Any other? Yes, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Ogito Craig. I write for a publication newspaper and then I'm the group of media companies. Already in Japan and I think imminently in China and Malaysia, the polling exercise is completed to find out if you have already received results from those stations and whether you will be making those results public, and also whether you will make all the results public once we have received them all, so that we don't have to wait until the 27th.
Okay. All right. Thank you. It's a very good question, and I think I also addressed it on Monday. So what will happen is, as I indicated this afternoon, the counting starts immediately after close of poll. Then the results will be announced and then pasted at the polling station. So we are going to ask that they send us that form that was pasted at the mission to send it to us, so that we can then share it as the authentic source. Because otherwise people can take space and try to, publish all kinds of things. That is not what we were doing in the past, because these results ordinarily are supposed to wait until the 27th so that they can be collated with others. But we are not going to break the law if we say this is the form that was pasted at embassy A, B, C, D, and we are putting it on our platform as the authentic results that we've received. So that is what we're going to do. And we will see how many we are going to receive by tomorrow, and then we'll keep on sharing throughout the day. It's the right thing to do because we're really in an era that is infested with misinformation and disinformation, and it appears as if a lot of people are bored and anything goes, and we don't want to find ourselves in that space. So we're willing to share what we are going to receive. Just be mindful of the time differences. So whatever we get, we're going to share. Because in any case, the results will become public once they are posted. But I just want to underscore, colleagues, that collation will only be done on the 27th together with all the other results after we voted on the 27th of November.
Any other questions? Yes.
I just wanted to find out which regions or polling stations received the highest turnout so far.
Which region has?
Regions or polling stations within the country received the highest turnout so far.
You are July Nafuka.
July, when you say the highest, I can give you, did you get the one for commerce yet? Okay, you did. Okay, let me rather leave the Director of Operations to answer that question.
So far, commerce is the highest turnout that we have received. This is also at around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Commerce stood at almost 1,000, plus minus 1,000, because remember at Van Rijn we have 2 polling stations, 2 different polling stations. So at 3 o'clock they recorded 1,000 votes for the day.
Okay, then you have others like Balfour's Urban was around 403, Rural Balfour's 429, just picking the ones that are a bit high. Undangwa Urban 366. Oshakati East 318. Otapi 410. But it was probably 45 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Around 3 o'clock, yeah. Okay, so that is where we stand with regard to the turnout. If I can remember which ones I mentioned. Balfour's Urban 403, Balfour's Rural 429. Okay, I always say the same thing to Zenia. Balfour's Urban 403. Rural 429. The other one we mentioned is Commerce, which is about 1,000. We also mentioned Otapi 410. Then we mentioned Oshakati East 318. Undangwa Urban 366. And Kietmans 364. Okay, a bit on maybe the others that are not on the high side would be like Oraniemund 135, Omaruru 174, Mukwe 139, Kurankuru 156, Kapako 60, Epupa 55, yeah, then Korich has 93. Those are a bit on the Or perhaps those are the ones that are telling with the numbers that we have provided. Yeah.
But
So, yes,
is
please.
this a good voter turnout, or is it low compared to people who are registered, or compared to people you're actually expecting?
No. I think for the places that I mentioned last, it is still good because it's places that are small, and obviously you get the impression that only those who are going to be on duty on the 27th then voted. So we can't say that it's a low turnout.
And how many ballot papers did you send there?
Per place.
Yeah, per place.
Oh.
Because I want to
No, that it's a good question,
Yeah.
but to expect me to remember everything for all those polling stations will be a bit difficult.
Because it's the only way we can do it as a representation of the percentage.
Oh,
of
I
voter
see.
turnout.
Okay. Xenia?
Otherwise,
Yes, so
Okay.
I think that can be provided,
Mm.
Chairperson, but
Mm.
what I also want to mention here in terms of representation of turnout is what the Chairperson has also indicated. The numbers that we have been provided with that would possibly turn out of the security cluster that would be on duty on the 27th is not what we have received now. In the Chairperson's remarks on Monday, right, I think we've also indicated that we have distributed 8,800 ballot papers for locally.
Mm.
So again, this is not a turnout because you cannot because they form part of a certain constituency. Yeah? So they are not as if they are on their own. They form part of a certain constituency. It's just that they are given priority as provided for in terms of the Act. So it cannot represent the turnout.
Okay.
It cannot represent the turnout.
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I thought you were expecting us to say, Balfours, these are the number of ballot papers, but cumulatively it was 8,800.
Nationally.
Yes, yes, that's correct. Any other questions?
So, out of the 8,000, 2,000 people showed up. What did you say?
7,199.
7,000
199
out of the expected
out of the
8,000.
expected 8,800.
8,000.
Yes,
Okay.
locally. So it's a good number.
That's a good number.
Yes, but
it
it's not a turnout, percentage, because remember they are still going to be collected on the 27th, and they still form part of a constituency. Yeah.
So you can already get the impression that we're definitely going to exceed that number. If by 3 o'clock we are around, 7,000, which is not a bad thing, but I think it would have been good to just get a heads up that, we are going to allow a lot more people to vote than the initial numbers that we gave you. But what gives us peace of mind is that everything is going well for special voting, and we'll keep on updating the nation. And one thing that, we also receiving feedback as people are walking out of the polling stations, and they are saying, most of them, that we are happy with the efficiency of the process. I indicated the interviews that I did this morning that our biggest bottleneck in the elections was the verification process. If you remember the DVDs and whatever that we were using for verification. But now we built in that technology into the tablet, and it makes it easy to just scan and do the verification. And that is what is helping us to be able to move the queues a lot faster. Yes. Any other questions? Okay, then I really thank you. Let us keep on serving our nation, and we will give you another update, but it will have to be tomorrow, so that we can then tell the nation that we've concluded and this is where we stand as far as special voting is concerned. Yes.
I just wanted clarity on one thing. You mentioned that 8,000 ballot papers have been sent out, and currently at 3 o'clock, we have over 7,000 people that have showed up. Okay? So in the instance that, let's say for instance, 9,000 people showed up, is there a provision that has been made for that as well?
Okay, all right, thank you. Senia?
Yes, so as the chairperson again indicated in the remarks, in that case, the electoral standard operating procedures makes provision that we can borrow. So we'll always try and see if we can borrow from the nearest polling station, from the nearest region, if it is that a region has run out. Because remember, the country becomes one constituency. And then we still have provision where the presiding officer is still required to account for what he or she has received, equally also for what he or she has redeployed. So if it is that the presiding officer has redeployed to assist another polling station, like especially in the areas where the chairperson has indicated that there might have been a low turnout, that accounting officer, presiding officer would still at the end of the polling, come 9 o'clock and they have to start, be able to give an account of what it is that he or she has used, what he or she has transferred. So that audit trail is there because it's one ballot paper.
Is it clear?
The math is not mathing.
Okay.
Because we say
Okay, right. Let us explain it this way. The nearest center to Windhoek is Okanja, right? If we send, for instance, hypothetically, 5 ballot books to Okanja, but Windhoek that we've given hypothetically 7 needs 2, and Okahanja will not use all the 5, then we get from Okahanja. Do you understand? And then we just fill in the forms. And that is why we are saying it's still ballot papers that were printed for special voting. We are not going outside of that number that we are indicating. So it is just to say that then we'll say to the presiding officer, the returning officer, okay, Windhoek is in need of this, please make arrangements. And again, I emphasize that truly the planning was above board, but the numbers, in as much as we are saying that we welcoming that a lot more people have turned up, it would just have been proper to have given the commission a heads up and to say, you know, we've allowed a lot more people to come and vote, and not to make the assumption that they will be able to cater for them. So that is basically what is happening. Yes, please.
Yeah, what security measures have been put in place? Because in the past we've had issues with ECN where EVMs are falling out of cars. Are the ballots safe when they're being transported to these new centers?
Yes. The ballots are safe and they are transported under strict police escorts. There is no, in this country, there is no sensitive material of the commission that is moved without security escort. You might even have noticed that an additional tablet was brought into the one polling station this morning. It's just for contingency to say, okay, if we see that there is need maybe for 2 people to be doing verification, then we have a second tablet on standby. But you must have noticed, obviously, that this tablet was brought in by the police. And that is how it is done. They know their responsibility. There is nothing that we move without police escort. That assurance I can give you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, so colleagues, thank you very much. And we will let you know when we can meet again tomorrow, because we need to monitor the